गति पारगते पारसंगते भूरि स्वाहा गते गते पारगते पारसंगते भूरि स्वाहा गते गते पारगते पारसंगते भूरि स्वाहा. Just one information. Gate. We'll go later. These are the 5 words. If you see, Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhi Swaha. So this sutra, when you talk about this mantra, is not just a mantra, for anything. It talks about the 5 paths to enlightenment. Okay, mantra on the 5 paths to nirvana or enlightenment. Now that you are already some classes, let's take the names of the parts. Okay, first Gate is the path of accumulation. Okay, first Gate is the path of accumulation. Second Gate represents the path of joining or path of preparation. Path of preparation. The path of preparation. Then the third is the Paragate, transcending, right? Paragate is the path of seeing. Then Parasangate is the path of meditation. And finally, Bodhi Swaha is the path of no more learning, where you attain your full awakening, Arachya or Buddhahood. So then there is nothing more for you to learn. So it's called path of no more learning. Okay, take note of these parts. So now when we recite this mantra, we will also take these 5 parts. So slowly you will have this 5-part part. Okay? Path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of no more learning. Okay? So whoever recites this mantra is basically a constant reminder to walk the 5 paths. To walk the 5 paths, that okay, from path of accumulation, we have to move to path of preparation. From path of preparation to path of seeing. Then to meditation, and finally the goal of attaining full awakening, which is path of no more learning. Clear? And the details of the path will follow. Okay?
This is what the same that we have heard like say in our meditation.
Lam 5 parts. Lam means 5 part and Na is 5, right? You should know in current meditation whatever comes from the Nalanda tradition. So whatever we teach, you will find it very similar. Why? Because it comes from the Indian Nalanda.
Sawa paths of no
more learn. How many of you don't want to learn anything? No more learning. There is nothing more for you to learn, right? It's like, for example, let's say finally your goal is to become best of the Nobel laureate in physics, right? Let's say, so when you become Nobel laureate in physics, meaning in physics you have nothing more to learn, right? So that meaning. So when you reach the final, when you become Arhat or when you become Buddha, there is nothing more for you to learn. To you come out of samsara, right? You have already come out of samsara. So therefore it's called path of no more learning. And if possible, take the Sanskrit word for it. Okay, so slowly you will hear from other teachers also. Better to have the Sanskrit word. So the first one, path of accumulation is called sambhar. Okay, sambhar man. Sambhar mark. Okay, sambhar mark. Second is called proper preparation. Prayog mark. Prayog mark. Okay, prayog mark. Path of seeing is called darshan mark. Path of meditation is called bhavna mark. Path of no more learning is called a section mark. A section. Okay, where you don't have to learn anything else. So let's have the diacriticals correct for the beginning. Maybe the first thing not, then we'll say it. Okay? So first is sambhar marg. Say sambhar marg. Sambhar means accumulation. You are accumulating something. What are you accumulating? Two things. Wisdom and merit. Wisdom and merit, right? Wisdom and merit. Gyan and punya. In Sanskrit or Hindi we call it Gyan and punya. In Tibetan we call it Sunamkitso and Therakitso or Ishikitso. Right? So that is the one you are accumulating. First, to enter the real path of meditation and darshan, see, you have to accumulate enough merit and enough wisdom. Right? So first part is where the practitioner is accumulating. Right? Accumulating wisdom, accumulating merit. Right? Punya and Gyan, right? Punya and Gyan. Okay, so then next is, with that accumulation, what are you going to do? You are preparing, right? You are preparing to see something. You are preparing to see, to go to the third path. What is that? Darshan marg, meaning to see the reality as it is. Third is where you see the reality as it is. Ultimate reality as it is. Not just any reality. You see Shunyata directly. You see anatta directly. Okay, so there where you have reached the path of seeing, darshan marg, right? Now you see the subtle realities of the world directly, right? And then you are no more an ordinary being, you are called an Arya being. You are called an Arya being. How many of you heard this word called Arya? Arya in the, right? Arya Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga, right? So this Arya comes only when you have reached the path of seeing. Here you become a Arya being, meaning this path onward you are no more an ordinary being, you are called an Arya being. Arya, right? Arya meaning those who have seen the ultimate reality directly. Those who have seen the Four Noble Truths directly. Okay, right? So before the path of seeing, you are a practitioner but ordinary being. Okay, ordinary being. So this distinction we have to know. Ordinary being versus Arya being. Okay, so what is the distinction? Distinction is on the basis of whether or not you see ultimate reality directly. Okay, so if you, what is the ultimate reality? Buddha, Shunyata, Anatta, emptiness, right? Emptiness or no self, wisdom of no self, wisdom of Anatta. So when you see somebody who sees that directly, that person is no more an ordinary being. That person is a noble being or Arya being. Clear? And then when do you achieve that? When you reach the third path and above. Okay, so third path, You are saying path of seeing. So what are you seeing? You are seeing the ultimate reality directly. You are seeing the Four Noble Truths directly. Got it now? Everybody is clear? This much is clear? Okay, so now before that, you are an ordinary being. Ordinary, don't mix up ordinary means, okay, people who are poor or ordinary. No, that's not the meaning. Here, ordinary means somebody who has not seen ultimate reality directly. Got it? That is the meaning of ordinary. For example, in sutras, there is a mention of the childlike being. Childlike. Why childlike? Because children, they don't see the deeper reality, right? They don't want to go to school. They don't want to do homework. Why? Because they don't see the reality, the long-term realities, right? So therefore, Buddha many times use the word childlike being or ordinary being. Got it now? Clear, everybody? Okay? So therefore, this mantra is very important. This tells us about the 5 paths that one has to tread in order to attain the nirvana or Buddhahood. Clear? Everybody clear? Okay, now let's see the Sanskrit terms. Samvar mar. Prayog mar. Prayog mar. Darshan mar. Darshan mar. Bhavna mar. Bhavna mar. Asex mar. Asex mar. Okay, clear? So now let's have 5 parts slowly by heart, and no need to worry. Every day before the class, we say this mantra. We say the 5 parts in English as well as Sanskrit. Slowly it will come to you, and then those who are learning Tibetan, better have it in Tibetan also. Okay? So what is that in Tibetan? Choklam, then Jodlam, then Konglam, Gomla, and Niloglam. Okay, so Choklam, Jodlam, Konglam, Gomlam, Niloglam. Okay, so those who know whichever language you are learning, make sure that you have the 5 parts in that. Okay. Okay, now let's say the mantra now. It will make sense. Gate, parasam, gate, bodhi swaha. Gate, parasam, gate, bodhi swaha. Gate, parasam, gate, bodhi swaha. And then there is one thing which you must see. Some people, they add the word Om. Om before the mantra, right? So that some scripture you will see the mention of Om, where some they do not have. Okay, so put it in the bracket to true to the scriptures, right? So what is this Om? This Om is very important in this context, in any mantra context. So basically Om. This word Om is made up of 3 syllables. A, U, Ma, right? A, U, Ma, Om, right? So what does that mean? It means the body, speech and mind. Okay, body, speech and mind. Okay. Okay, body, speech and mind. So when you say that, and when the mantra is recited like Om Mani Padme Hum or Om Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhi Swaha, then Buddha Shakyamuni's mantra Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Swaha, right? So all this mantra Om, what is the meaning of this? In a way you are saying that may my defile, right? The inner body, speech and mind that I have, it transforms into the enlightened body, speech and mind, right? Enlightened body, speech and mind by following the 5 paths. Okay, by following the 5 paths. So that is the meaning. Okay, you are saying the moment you say Om, you say that may my body, speech and mind, which is right now very defiled. What do you mean by defiled? Impure, meaning anytime I can hurt anybody with my words, right? Anytime I can hurt anybody with my thoughts. Anytime I can hurt anybody with my actions, right? So the body, speech and mind, which is very ordinary right now, which is very, very impure right now, may it transforms into the enlightened body, speech and mind, right? Enlightened body, speech and mind by practicing what? By practicing the 5 paths, right? By practicing the 5 paths. Got it now? So therefore this word Om is very important in mantras, okay? Okay, good. And of course different meanings will be there. Okay, now going back to the 4 schools. What are the 4 schools? Finally? Vedhashaka, Saudhamika, and what are the other words for Chittamantra school? Vijnanavada and Yogachara. Say Vijnanavada and Yogachara. We are doing Saudhamika. be done after the midterm. Okay, after the midterm. Right now we are doing South Africa. South Africa in English is called Sutra School. We have already done. What is the meaning of the South Africa? Okay, so definition, let's read the definition once again. We are done with the definition. Who is a South Africa philosopher? Somebody. Okay, what are the three things? If you are a South Africa philosopher, you have to accept three things. What are they? Very good. Okay. So one, you have to accept the self-cognizant mind. Number two, what is self-cognizant mind in Sanskrit? Very good. Swasamvedana, right? Swasamvedana, right? And then what is the next one? External reality. Where the South Africans they accept that the things exist external to the mind, right? Everything is not the nature of the mind. Yeah? And then finally, all phenomena exist truly, intrinsically. Okay? All phenomena exist truly, intrinsically. Swabha. All things they have their own nature. Right? Garna? Okay, so this is where you become a South Africa philosopher. Okay, other than the South Africa school, out of the four schools, which school accepts self-cognizant mind? Chittamatra, very good. Okay, Chittamatra. So these are the two schools only. Out of the four, South Africa and Chittamatra, they accept the self-cognizant mind. Okay, and the Prabhashika, Madhanika, they do not accept. Okay, they do not accept the presence of a self-cognizant mind. Okay, so now we'll go into the. Did I already share this with you? No. Before we go there, so the next topic that we're going to start is manifest and the hidden phenomena. Remember? So the another philosophy or another tenet of the South Africa, and this is not from South Africa. This will be taken up by the Chittamatra as well as Madhurika. This is accepted by all the school, manifest phenomena as well as hidden phenomena. Okay, so this is another very important concept in the philosophy. Before I share that, let me share very interesting, inspiring thing with you. This comes from the sutta, Nitya Chigal Mukta Sutta, a yoke with a whole sutta. So this sutta is, what is sutta?
Direction how to
Prediction follow. What do you understand by the word sutta? Word. In this context, what is the sutta? Who wrote? Yes. Okay, words of the Buddha, right? So Buddha is a Pali word for the sutra, right? Sutra in Sanskrit, sutta in Pali. Go into Latin, right? Now that one. Okay. So these are nothing but in the Buddhist context, these are referring to the words, direct words of the Buddha, right? Direct words of the Buddha, not the commentaries written by later master, okay? But the directly what Buddha said is known as sutta, right? Sutta. So there are so many suttas that Buddha taught, right? So many suttas that Buddha taught. Vinaya Pitak is there, Dhamma Pitak is there, then Sutta Pitak is there, right? So now in one of the sutta, Buddha talked about the precious human life. Okay, precious human life, and this will tell us how we should take our life very seriously. Okay, and then even the thought comes sometimes that okay, I'm good for nothing. This thought should not come when you reflect on these kind of suttas that the Buddha gave, the direct teaching that the Buddha gave. So this, what is the background? And before we read, let me give you the exact background. So there was a discussion happening between Buddha Shakyamuni and the disciples, right? Monk disciple. And Buddha then, asked them, Buddha asked one question to them. Buddha said, just imagine, right? Okay, now listen to me. The slides will be with you. Buddha said, just imagine that he asked his own disciple. Let's say, for example, in the class, I asked you, right? So he said, just imagine that the whole earth it changes into an ocean, right? The whole earth is big or not? Very big, right? So the whole earth, it changes into water body. It changes into an ocean. And And then imagine in that ocean, okay, just see the gravity of the example. In that ocean, at the bed of the ocean, there is a turtle. Turtle means tortoise. This.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a turtle or there is a tortoise, and this turtle is blind. He cannot see, right? This turtle is blind at the bed of the ocean, and this turtle comes to the surface only once in 100 years. How many years? Once in 100 years, he comes to the surface, right? And then on the surface of this water body, there is a wooden block. This is called yolk, right? Wooden block like this. And this wooden block has a hole in the center. A hole in the center, and this small wooden block is floating on the surface. On the surface, it is floating. So when the wind blows from the north, it moves to the south, right? When the wind blows from the east, it moves to the west, right? So it's constantly moving, right? And then Buddha asked them a question. This is the scenario. And Buddha said, just imagine that this turtle comes to the surface, and what is the probability? What are the chances? What is the possibility that this turtle will stick his neck inside that hole? What is the possibility? What do you think? Huh? What is the possibility? Anybody?
Infinite?
It's
Oh yeah.
Once in a
means how frequent do you think this can happen? It's very it's like so you are feeling difficulty to say meaning it's next to impossibility, right? It's very difficult, right? First of all, turtle is blind, right? Comes only once on 100 years on the surface, and then the wooden block is also moving, and also the whole earth has become an ocean, right? So by the time turtle comes up, it may be in Africa, right? So and then the turtle is in India, right? So this is the chances are next to impossible, very negligible, right? How many of you agree with this? So the same was reply given by the disciples that Buddha, this seems to be next to impossibility, right? So then Buddha said, in these this much rare is to attain precious human life, right? So the precious human life that you have obtained, Buddha said, even rarer is to attain the precious human life, meaning a lot of merit are acquired in the past, lot of good karmas one has to do to attain a precious human birth. Not just the human birth, precious human birth. What do you mean by precious human birth? Where the person comes in direct contact with the right dharma, right? Where you don't go into the negative philosophies, where you have to kill others, where you have to harm others, whereas a life where you have the freedom to study the right dharma, where you have the freedom to study the dharma taught by the enlightened beings, and your faculties are sound. You are not with the faculties where you cannot understand anything, right? So that kind of precious human life. And how many of you have proper faculties? Like how many of your mind is working fine? All of us. And how many of you are healthy? All of us. How many of you are not bullied by the terrorists that you cannot study? No, we are in a place where we have the right to study, right? Nobody can stop us from studying. Whereas if you go to the other places, there are difficulties, right? Even the study is not free, right? First of all, not free, and then so many restrictions are there, and then this gender discrimination is also there, right? So we are born with so many merit accumulation. This precious human life is there, which can be utilized to practice, study, and meditate on dharma, right? So this is where Buddha gave the example. Okay, let's read that. Okay, these are the Buddha's words. Monks, suppose that this great earth were totally covered with water, and a man were to toss a yoke with a single hole there. A wind from the east would push it west, a wind from the west would push it east. A wind from the north would push it south, a wind from the south would push it north. And suppose a blind sea turtle were lived there. It would come to the surface once every 100 years. Now what do you think? Would that blind sea turtle coming to the surface once every 100 years stick his neck into the yoke with a single hole? This is the question asked, right? And then this disciple answered, it would be a sheer coincidence, Lord, right? That the blind sea turtle coming to the surface once every 100 years would stick his neck into the yoke with a single hole. So they said it's a sheer coincidence. If it happens, it will happen out of coincidence, right? Then Buddha replied, it is likewise a sheer coincidence that one obtains the human state. It is likewise a sheer coincidence that a Tathagata, Buddha, worthy and rightly self-awakened arises in the world. It is likewise a sheer coincidence that a doctrine and discipline expounded by the Tathagata appears in the world. Now this human state has been obtained. A Tathagata, worthy and rightly awakened one, has arisen in the world. A doctrine and discipline expounded by the Tathagata appears in the world. Therefore, you must contemplate. This is suffering, this is origin of suffering, this is cessation of suffering, this is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, the four noble truths, right? So Buddha said, because now that you have attained this very, very precious human state, because of the accumulation of merit from many past lives, so now is the time to use this precious human state to see the reality, of the four noble truths. Okay, so this is how this will tell us the preciousness of our own existence, right? And when sometimes the challenges come one after the other, you go to this person doesn't respect you. You go to workplace, nobody listens to you. In the family also, family members do not pay heed to your what you say, right? And then you start to feel, what is the point of living, right? What is the point of my life? So this is not worth it, right? When you reflect on the precious human life, these kinds of thought that okay, I'm good for nothing, feeling very demotivated with the existence, this should not happen, right? In fact, this life is so precious and we have the right to be happy. The point is we have to use this life to become a happier person. Okay, Varna? Okay? So this comes from the Sutra.
I have a doubt. If this is the reality of getting the human life, why do India has billions of people?
Okay. Not only India.
Yeah,
other places also have billions of
like
people,
China.
right? China has, and then many other countries have. And has
There should be only one or two people like that.
Okay, so this there should be one or two people, right? Okay, so now see the difference. As I said, human life and precious human life. These are two different things, right? India has billions, Earth has billions of people. How many of them have heard emptiness? Even Buddhists, born Buddhist. So precious human life meaning where not just human life, right? Human life, so many have human life. Whereas not only human life, people using this human life to create terrorism, to harm others, to create difficulties on others. That's not a precious human life. That's a human life, right? Precious human life is where all other conditions are also together, right? Where not only you are born with all the facilities, like you are healthy, your faculties are healthy, you are born in a place where the dharma is available, but at the same time you also have interest and connection, right? Some people are extremely brilliant, right? Some scientists, I personally, when I meet them during conferences, they're so sharp. If you discuss with them emptiness, shunyata, they understand very fast, but they are not connected, right? So all these conditions that where not only you have a healthy environment, healthy body, healthy mind, but also you are connected to the dharma. You are connected to the right dharma, and you are actually interested in that. You are interested. So that is very rare. And if you don't believe, out of the 8 billion people, right? Out of the 8 billion people, just see how many people have actually heard the word even Nalanda, right? You heard the word even Nalanda. Heard the word called Four Noble Truths. Heard the word called something called Wisdom of Dependent Origination. How many people practice universal love and compassion, right? So these are very few. So that is the sheer coincidence for us. Okay, so not human life. Yeah, in Japan it's called Milieu Rinpoche. Not million only. Okay, it's called precious human life. Precious human life. Got it now? Okay, so not human life. Human life so many have, right? But precious human life is very rare. Okay, good, very good question. Thank you.
And then you call it human precious human life, I think what's called development.
Yes. Okay, so now all those things you follow. Okay, so this is from the Sutra directly. Okay, good. Thank you for this question. In fact, this will clarify that now if you don't make most of it, then although you have the opportunity, but you are not availing that opportunity. You are not utilizing that opportunity. Okay, so that is the meaning. Okay. Okay, good. Now, next topic in the Sautamtrika philosophy, they divide all the phenomena. So last time we discussed what do you mean by phenomena? Anybody? Anything that exists. Very good. Anything that exists is called phenomena. In Sanskrit, dharma, right? Dharma, right? Dharma, or in Pali, dhamma, right? Pali, dhamma. So anything that exists is called phenomena or dharma, right? Dharma. And then all these phenomena can be broadly classified under two major categories. What are they? Manifest phenomena and hidden phenomena. Say manifest phenomena and hidden phenomena. What is manifest phenomena in Sanskrit? Pratyaksh.
Yes.
Okay, say pratyaksh. Pratyaksh. And then hidden phenomena is called paroksh. 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 Okay, very good. Okay, so what is the difference? Okay, manifest phenomena and hidden phenomena. So actually, to know this distinction, you have to know the two kinds of praman, two kinds of mind that we use. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay. For example, let's say this pen. How many of you see this pen in my hand? Yes. Yes. Okay. To see this pen, should I give you reason? Oh, there is a pen. Or you see it directly? Shall we? Do you need any reason? That okay, there is a pen. Why? Because see, I have wrote it. I wrote it, right? There must be a pen, right? Do you need some reason, or you know it directly? Directly. So those phenomena which you know, which ordinary people can know with their direct cognition, is known as manifest phenomena. Varna? So those phenomena which an ordinary person can see through direct cognition, direct mind, is known as manifest phenomena or pratyaksh, right? Okay, now tell me another example. Let's say in the hostel, in one room, you see so much of smoke coming out. So much of smoke coming out and the door is closed, right? And then, how many of you will do something? And no compassion? Okay.
Everybody.
Why do you do something? Why?
Because we think that
Okay,
there's
here.
You think there's a fire?
Why? Okay, so did you see the fire?
no.
No. But
This
how
is-
you are so sure that if there is fire here, Mr. Robert?
Well, you associate smoke with fire, generally.
Because smoke as a sign, you are confident that wherever there is a smoke, there must be a fire. Yes or no? Right? Wherever there is a smoke, there must be fire. Right? How many of you agree with Mr. Robert? Right? So this is where, although you have not seen the fire directly, but you have inferred, right? Inference, right? You have inferred the fire by the presence of the smoke. Yes? Right? So smoke as a reason gives you the information that there must be fire. Yes or no? Right?
Yes.
But you did not see the fire. Yes? So this fire was hidden for you. Yes?
Yes.
But those phenomena which you know by dependence on a reason, right? Those phenomena which you know by dependence on a reason, these are known as paroksh or hidden phenomena. Clear, everybody? Okay, clear? Okay, let me repeat this. What are the manifest phenomena? Those phenomena which the ordinary beings can know directly through their direct consciousnesses, right? Like eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, then what? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, right? And mental consciousness. So with the phenomena which you know directly with your direct consciousnesses, direct minds, this is known as manifest phenomena. Clear? Whereas those phenomena which you know by dependence on a reason, by dependence on someone else, these phenomena are known as hidden phenomena. Okay, hidden phenomena or paroksh. Clear, everybody? Okay.
Sorry, the manifest phenomenon. You said there were 5 things, which are the 5 senses, but you also
Mental. Mental is also good.
you doubt that as part of it.
So mental, slowly, next semester we are going to study Buddhist psychology, right? So mental, there are 2, direct mental and then inferential mental. Both are there. Okay? Okay, let's read the definition now. It should be clear. Manifest phenomena is together, a phenomenon which can be known by a direct cognition of an ordinary person. Clear, everybody? Definition is clear? For example, pen on the table, sky, then your own food, your book, your people around, right? These are all manifest phenomena. Hidden phenomena? A phenomenon which can be known by an inferential valid cognition. Inferential valid cognition of an ordinary person. Okay, don't worry about the inferential valid cognition. Okay, so this is simply means inference. Inference meaning you can't see directly, you infer, right? For example, how many of you have lungs?
Everybody has. I have.
Okay, those who are saying everybody, how many of you have open other body? Okay, let's talk about oneself, right? Okay, how many of you have lungs? How many of you have seen your lungs?
No.
Then how are you so sure? Maybe your doctor has lied to us. You never know, right? Right? Okay, let's make our people on earth mad or stupid, right? And the person lies, okay, there is a lung, no lungs, right? How many of you agree with me? Don't agree. They don't know, we know, right? Okay, but you have not seen it directly, right? So how do I know? Okay, tell me, why are you so sure that you have lungs? Anybody? Don't say Dr. Dormi.
We're breathing.
Because we are breathing, right? So did you see the reason? Breathing is possible only when you have lungs, right? For breathing, you need an apparatus, or let's say you need an instrument like lungs, right? Only then the breathing can happen, right? So breathing as a reason helps you to know the presence of the lungs, yes or no, right?
Yes.
So therefore, knowing the presence of lung inside the body is a hidden phenomena for us, right? Hidden phenomena. Okay, how many of you know that this table is made up of atom particles, very small particles, right? Right? So how many of you have seen them? Electrons, protons, neutrons, right? But whole periodic table is there, right? Mass of the atom of the oxygen, mass of the atom of the hydrogen, mass of the atom of the sodium, chloride, all this. How many of you memorized in school? Right? We all did, right? So what is that? So although we have not seen, but this is a hidden phenomena, very subtle hidden phenomena for us, right? So this is how we have to know. It's not that all phenomena are manifest phenomena, right? Some you have to know by dependence on reason. For example, now what is the importance of this, right? For example, shunyata. For example, anatta. How many of you realize have the direct experience now? No, right? So these are the hidden for us, right? Hidden for us, but it does not mean that it will remain hidden always. By dependence on reason, through study, this can become manifest for you. Okay? This can become manifest for you, right? So this is the purpose. That why teaching this category the purpose is to let people know that everything is not manifest, right? So it's a very contemporary, hardcore scientists, not very brilliant scientists. Brilliant scientists, they are very open. But very hardcore scientists like Charvakas, olden days Charvakas, they seeing is believing. If I don't see, it doesn't exist, right? But this is not the reality. There are so many things which you don't see through the direct consciousness, but still they exist, right? Still they exist. How do I know it? You know it through the reasons, right? For example, Shunyata. The reality is, Shunyata is one of those phenomena. Anatta is one of those phenomena. Subtle impermanence, right? For example, what do you mean by subtle impermanence? This is also very important. Impermanence, right? Impermanence. What do you mean by impermanence? Anicca? Not permanent. Changing or what? Anybody? What do you mean by impermanence? Okay, so impermanence, there are 2 levels, right? One is called gross impermanence and what is called subtle impermanence. Okay, gross and subtle, right? Gross is, for example, let's say, if I break this pen, you realize the impermanence. Yes or no, right? For example, when somebody dies, death is the impermanence. Yes or no, right?
Yes.
This is a very gross impermanence. For example, this table, if somebody breaks, it will break, right? So this is not permanent. This is a gross impermanence. What is the subtle impermanence? Subtle impermanence. Okay, take note of that. Subtle impermanence meaning while the object remains, while the phenomena is there, it is constantly changing moment by moment, right? Constantly changing moment by moment. It is changing. Even our body. How many of you feel that you are not changing? We all feel, right? But this is not the reality. We are changing moment by moment, right? Even this table is under flux, right? If you can see through the electron microscope, you will see all the atoms are under flux. They are moving, right?
Yes.
So that is subtle impermanence. And how many of you see this ball as moving?
No.
No.
Okay.
So subtle impermanence is something which we don't see through direct consciousness. That is through, it's a hidden phenomena for us. So subtle impermanence is the hidden phenomena. Moment by moment change, right? Moment by moment change of the impermanent phenomena. Clear? Okay, so these are the examples of the hidden phenomena like subtle impermanence, shunyata, anatta, lungs in the body, right? Then the atoms, very subtle particles. These are the hidden phenomena. Clear, everybody? Okay, very good.
And then an example of a gross impermanence, I understand the subtle impermanence, because the nature would directly change. Give me an example of gross impermanence.
Gross impermanence means where the continuum breaks, right? For example, let's say death is a gross impermanence. Then you break, let's say this pen, I break right away, right? This is gross impermanence. Gross impermanence. Something which you can see. And then a very good example given in the sutras is like when you burn a candle and at the end the candle extinguishes, right? The flame extinguishes, right? So that is the gross impermanence, where the continuum ends, right? Where the continuum completely ends, right? That is where you see the gross impermanence, like death. Then the flame extinguishes, flame just stops, right? That is gross impermanence, which you can see, right? For example, if I break this pen, how many of you see that? You all see, right? So that is something you can see through direct, right? So that is gross impermanence. Whereas subtle impermanence, we have to meditate on it, right? Subtle impermanence does not come directly to us. We have to meditate on with the help of reason. That okay, how even this ball, which appears as so static, it's not static, it's moving constantly. Your body is not static, it's moving constantly. Your mind is moving constantly.
We buy things and then at first they become fresh. But over the years, it wears out and then it becomes
Yes.
red. So likewise, our body also from the moment that we are born, we go becoming healthy, not very much. And by say at least 10 gradually,
Yes.
and then we become going back.
Yes.
So where this can be fit? Is it a growth or?
Okay, so now you see that okay, this the change that you can see, or somebody is becoming older. This is gross impermanent. This you can see, right? But let's say let's say you keep this table here, right? And we all leave, and after we all leave, we never come back to this room. And then let's say somebody comes after 2,000 years. After 2,000 years, so person sees the table and let's say touches the table. Let's say even if you see very lightly, it will crumble, yes or no? Right? Tell me, the table crumbled just one day, or it was going through change over years? Constant change, right? It does not mean that okay, for example, like today it breaks, then we start to blame, right? Oh, he broke it, she broke it, right? Actually, this break it does not happen in one day, right? It happens over years. But those changes right now also we don't see that, right? We see it as very static, no change happening, right? So this is because our eyes are very gross, not to see the constant change happening in the moment, right? So this you see through the subtler reasonings, okay? Okay, good. So in other words, gross impermanence is the impermanence which you know without depending on reason, okay? Which you know without depending on reason, whereas subtle impermanence is the impermanence which is the moment by moment change of a impermanent phenomena, that you know initially, by dependence on reason. Initially. Okay,
You
Varna?
don't see that.
Yes. Okay, now. Okay, let's read the hidden phenomena together now. A phenomenon which can be recognized by inferential valid cognition. So inferential valid cognition, don't worry, it simply means inference. Inference. What do you mean by inference? Let's say, okay, anybody who can give me an example of inference? What do you understand by the word inference? Any example? Yes, it's a conclusive statement, but how? Like example. Anybody? What do you mean by inference? This is what the word is in philosophy. Okay, very good. Okay, let's say example, brilliant example. Let's say I see the sister, and because of some robes, right, and the Vinaya that they follow, she knows that okay, she belongs to the Mahayana Buddhism in Vietnam, right? Sister is not wearing a label, right? I am from Mahayana Buddhism in Vietnam, right? But still she knows how? Through inference. Through inference. Varna, inference meaning, although you don't see directly, but you can infer with the help of some facts given to you. Right? For example, let's say if somebody, whenever there is one person, whenever other person is sick, and then the other person is poor, always feels very, very, kind, cries, always goes to help. From this science, can you infer that this person is a very compassionate person? Yes or no? Right? Let's say there is a person, whenever there are dogs, somebody beats the dog, the person goes and rescue, right? And then somebody is in need of help of money, the person always helps. And then somebody cries, the person is always there to console, right? So from there, you see the person and can you be sure that, oh, this person is a very kind person, yes or no? Right? Although you don't see the mind of the person, but you can infer that the person is kind, right? So this is the meaning of inference. Meaning some reasons are given to you, on that basis you infer the deeper realities, right? The realities which are not seen, you can infer. You can know indirectly. Infer meaning, you can know indirectly. Clear everybody? Everybody is clear? Inference word?
Yeah.
Okay, if you are not clear, ask me again. Okay, raise your hand. Those who say once again. Okay, be honest, don't worry. Inference meaning, okay, here. This is a noun, right? This comes from the word infer. Infer. Infer means simply to know something indirectly, right? To know something indirectly. Let's say if I come to the class and I keep coughing, right? All the time, right? So although I say, when you ask me, how are you, teacher? I said, I'm very good, right? But can you infer that, oh, she's still sick, right? Did I say I'm sick? No, right? But through my coughing, you inferred, right? Indirectly, you came to know that I'm sick, right? So that is the meaning of inference. Now it's clear? Okay, so you need example, my example, right? Okay, we'll stop here for a break.